Yes, how are we doing? We're reacting to another victory for Celtic. It was narrow in the end, but it was a win over St Mirren. As you can see, I am Hamish Carton and I've got David Walton with me. David, we were just chatting there about the lack of talking points for that game. We're going to struggle to chat for 15 minutes or so, I think.
It wasn't the best, but hey, 3 points. So you know what? Worst thing you could do when you're going for a title is let in a last minute goal in these kind of games. So happy with the win.
Yeah, I suppose it was a case of getting the victory because it was a match that we didn't think was going to be played probably this side of the year. Then we went out of the Champions League and it was just a case of getting the 3 points. We've obviously cut the gap at the top to just 3 points now, and if we win on Saturday we can go top of the league again. So there's plenty of positives there, but some stuff to work on as well.
Yeah, I would say so. I think some of the build-up play needs improved upon. I think there's some issues there trying to break down packed defences. I don't think defensively, I know the goal's a bit poor to lose from a set piece, so there'll be concerns there, but I think naturally with a 3-5-2 shape you're going to ship some chances, especially if your wing backs is far forward as they play. So I would say build up against the likes of St Mirren needs improved upon, especially away from home. But to be honest, I just think you can complain too much. It's the fourth win in a row. If we'd have conceded late on, then you could have came on and had a right pop at them. But they've held on, and actually, to be fair, they've held on pretty comfortably, if we're being honest.
Definitely. Lots and lots of you watching as well, over 100 at the moment. Big thanks to everyone who's tuning in and deciding to spend a wee chunk of their Wednesday night watching two idiots talk about a game of football. But that's exactly what we're going to do. Hi to the likes of Jamie, Danny, Ian as well that are watching us. Let us know your thoughts on the game. We'll try and get on to some talking points. They're absolutely flooding in on the screen in front of me, so we'll do our best. Obviously a disappointing start to the game. We go behind after about 3 minutes. It seems to be a little bit of a theme in our games so far this season that we've started quite slowly, so maybe some concerns there, and a pretty soft goal to lose through Lee Irwin.
Yeah, I'd actually just about turned it on and just home to scoring right away. I didn't really see who was at fault. I'm not sure. I think it was Christie that was maybe marking Irwin. I'm not sure. There's a wee bad indecision there. I think Christie was blaming Barkas. No chance for me. I thought it was a poor goal to lose, but mate, teams lose goals. You know what I mean? It happens. The way we recovered for me was good. Turned that around in front for half time. So I'd like to focus mainly on that. Mm-hmm. You're right. I mean, we're starting quite poorly in recent weeks. I think County had their openings as well at 1-0 against us. So yeah, there's maybe something in that for Lennon to sort of look into in training, but. I think it's quite tedious to sort of dwell on the fact you lost early goal. Main thing was we recovered, got the 3 points, and we're out at Paisley with the win.
Definitely, I think that's the one thing we've found out over the last few weeks is that this team still has the heart and the fight to have a good season. I was certainly, 3 weeks ago or so we sat here, did a video after the Ferencváros defeat, talked about Neil Lennon's post-match comments, and certainly speaking for myself, I was concerned at that stage that this Celtic team might be about to fall apart. There was talk about players wanting to leave. We hadn't performed well on the night. We'd gone out of the Champions League earlier than we had in a decade or so. However, since then, the performances maybe haven't been perfect, but I think we've seen that this team isn't going to go down without a fight this season. This is still a really motivated side, and we saw that in abundance tonight. They got over the line. Obviously the equaliser comes through Shane Duffy, who's, well, let's just put a number on it right now. How many goals is he going to score this season? Because I think, you always get these comparisons with like other talked up players in Scotland. Like last season I think it was that Julian had scored more goals than Ryan Kent. I think Shane Duffy's going to score more goals than the vast majority of players in Scotland this season because he's just such a threat in the air.
He might do, and you'll find that the likes of Christie, McGregor, whoever hits our set pieces will start aiming for him a lot more regularly. He's such a presence. And to be honest, some people might look at those headers that he scored and think, he's just got to direct that towards goal. And I've seen Ayer and Julian sky them for about 5-6 yards in the past year or two, so it's a skill to be able to direct your header as accurately as Duffy has in the last couple of games. It's a great asset for us to have. He's, for me, easily double figures. God knows what it could be come the end of the season.
I think he could end up like a third or fourth top scorer. Like, I genuinely believe that, because he's gonna get chances in games if the delivery's good, and he is going to head them in.
Aye, I mean, that's 2 goals, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to talk about top scorer or second top scorer, nonsense like that, but he's a real, genuine threat. You know, teams are going to look at him and go, oh, Christ, right, somebody get on him. That's just brilliant, because I don't think we've really had that at set pieces over the last couple of years. I think maybe our biggest aerial threat before Duffy came in was Julian, but his headers can be quite, erratic.
I spoke about this the other day with Julian. I've never really, as much as Julian scored massive goals for us last season, I don't think many of them were actually what you would call colossal headers. Like, you think back to like the Lazio goals, the Rangers goals, they were goals where he found himself on his own and finished well. Whereas I think Duffy's the best headerer of the ball we've had since Boyata's maybe the obvious one, but prior to that, Van Dijk, someone like that. Like, he's just so powerful in the air. Probably some questions still defensively, but I think that'll come over time. And then the next player to score a header, James Forrest.
Aye, out of nowhere, and tell you what, it was some header. Forrest, if we're being honest, was poor for me tonight. I think he's in a poor run of form. But my goodness, I mean, I thought it was Klimala at first. It was that accurate. It was that powerful. I couldn't believe it was Forrest.
He really got the neck muscles into it, didn't he?
Aye, something like that. No, he did play him. He came up when we needed him. Plenty to work on for Forrest's perspective, though. Just not seeing it with him at the minute. I think Neil's trying to play him on either side to try and find out where he's going to be performing at his best this season. But hopefully the goal does him wonders. But again, in the second half, I don't think he was that great.
Yeah. In terms of kind of second half talking points, a bit of a kind of...
I can't remember the second half.
Quiet 45 minutes. The obvious moment is the penalty, Ryan Christie, and it's worth a couple of people in the comments pointing out Ryan Christie maybe didn't have the best game tonight, but his contribution was huge in terms of... I think he helped. Did he assist both goals? Am I right in saying that? And obviously won the penalty as well. That Edward takes an absolutely awful penalty. I think he just needs to forget about Panenka's and forget about trying to be too clever and just put the ball into the net. But he probably won't be on the next one. But quiet second half, and it was a wee bit nervy at the end.
It was nervy just because of the scoreline.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
the game was going. I thought Celtic managed to control it quite well. Listen, you'd expect that going to St Mirren, but when these games have a margin of 1 goal, it's so easy to start letting balls coming into your box, and start inviting pressure on. I thought Celtic controlled it very well. I know there was only 2 minutes added on, but I thought for the last 5 or 6, the ball was kind of, up St Mirren's end, and we were keeping it well. Talking about Ryan Christie's contribution, I totally agree with you, mate. I thought his deliveries were inconsistent. He tries to put that many into the box. I think, there is a fair few that you're thinking, God's sake, Christian, what was that? But his second delivery tonight, the one for Forrest, was superb, absolutely superb. Won the penalty well. That was good grafting from him. And going on to Edwards, his shot for the penalty kick, I totally agree with you. I felt at the weekend against County, he tried to be a bit smart and, looked great because it came off for him. Tonight it just looked stupid, to be honest, the way he went up and tried to take it. I was actually initially screaming for Ajeti to take it. I just wanted him to continue that goal again.
So was I. He's in my fantasy team.
No luck, man. But it was always going to be Edward. But, hey, you know what? Just like we're saying, his teams concede goals, strikers miss penalties. So it's 3 points. It's a good win. And in the end, I think it was more comfortable than the scoreline suggests.
Yeah, the St Mirren goalkeeper Zlamal finally getting his revenge on Edward for that penalty in the Scottish Cup final a couple of years ago that Edward took so well. So good night for him, but his side still lost. I think Ryan Christie's an interesting one because I didn't think he was particularly brilliant, but he obviously had a big say in the game, and you wonder whether someone like Olivier Ntcham would have had such a big say. And I think the answer, we most of us know the answer to that the chances of Ntcham setting up 2 goals and winning a penalty tonight, if he'd have played, would have been pretty minimal. So I guess that's what you get from Christie, even when he's not at his free-flowing best, which he's certainly not at the moment. He has that impact for the team. So positives there. What else do we take for tonight? I thought El Hamid was kind of doesn't look the player that he maybe was at the start of last season.
I agree with you there. There was something just off about him tonight, and I've been one of his biggest cheerleaders. I've really liked him since he signed. Something about him tonight, though. I thought he looked quite slow, especially at the start of the game. I thought he was beaten off easily.
Yeah.
I think St Mirren were getting a bit of joy out of him, and I don't know if you remember his pass at the back late on in the first half. I think it was
1-0 St Mirren at that stage. I was more than a bit concerned.
I wasn't late on the first half, but it was some point. Gave it straight to him. A better team, particularly in Europe, for example, would have punished you for that. So yeah, a bit poor there, but he'll bounce back. He's a good player, I think. I think he'll be okay in the long run. Try to think the rest. I thought Duffy and I thought Ayer played okay. I didn't mind Ayer tonight. You know what? He's such a whipping boy. But I tell you what, that guy takes so much responsibility for us when he's on the ball. He's always trying to step out, putting himself at risk, putting himself out there to be, criticised with the way he tries to get forward, and he'll play that forward ball. He'll take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight I thought he recovered well when his forward passes didn't come off. He was starting back into position, and he showed good pace. And I don't think the St Mirren front line could really get at Ayer the way they might have liked. So I was really impressed with him. Him and Duffy played well. But outside of them, I just can't pick out a player that really stood out for me.
Yeah.
It was a poor performance, but 3 points is 3 points.
To use that old cliche, this is a game you won't really remember at the end of the season. That it's just one to tick off, and 3 points. You can only get 3 points for a win at the end of the day, and 3 points tonight was the same as we would get if we beat Rangers in 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm pretty pleased, because I was certainly a bit worried when St Mirren took the lead. We've got a few minutes left in the stream. I think we'll maybe have a wee bit of a general talk about where we feel Celtic are at the moment. We've obviously got a huge big few weeks coming up, game after game, Europa League game / games, hopefully, if we go through. We've got the games against the likes of Hibs and Rangers coming up in the league at Celtic Park as well. I'll just ask everyone who's watching this, how do you think the team is set at the moment? Are we maybe just about to see that performance that really puts things into gear? Or are you concerned with the performances we're seeing? And then David, I'll ask you that exact question right now.
There are sort of phases to our game. I think we will all concern people. I do think when you play that 3-5-2, it's there to be got at. I think you're talking about potentially in Europe and even against Rangers. Let's not get ourselves on. When we play better teams, if Celtic were to go 3 at the back, they'll see an opportunity there when they're seeing the likes of St Mirren and Ross County find the gaps. Again, for me, that's just natural with a 3-5-2. I think that's just the risky play.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's still a massive, overwhelming need for a left back, but Lennon's already admitted that when he wants to go back to a 4, which I think he might do when we play Rangers next month, we can't go with Greg Taylor. Not for me. I think we need somebody better.
Controversial.
I think we need somebody of better standard than Greg Taylor at left back. If in a derby against Rangers, the way they're playing just now, if I'm being totally honest with you.
Do you see signs at this team in the last couple of games? Signs that this team's starting to mould together.
Yeah. I mean, look at the game on Saturday there in Dingwall. They look great going forward. Of course, there's more signs because Lennon's getting players up to a level of fitness he thinks is acceptable now, and he's playing these players more regularly. So you're starting to see them gel a bit. Always going to be teething problems, of course, but they still need a couple of additions. I think if we want to be as consistent as we need to be to overtake Rangers and stay ahead of them. So hopefully we get that work done sooner rather than later. Would I like the left back in before now, but again, hopefully we see some progression in that over the next week or two. I mean, overall, mate, it's what's that? 4 consecutive wins since the draw against Kilmarnock. Some good ones in there too, Ross County and Dundee United. So you've got to be pleased with what they're showing. All they can do is win. Can't criticise this team for certain types of wins. So they're in good form. And we'll go into the game against Livingston almost certs to make it 5, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the fixtures there. I think 3 of our next 4 games are at Celtic Park. So a big opportunity, I think, to get a bit of momentum going. my big kind of frustration when I saw the team tonight was that Neil Lennon didn't go with pretty much the same team as played on Saturday. I could understand, like, see Ryan Christie coming in for Ncham, but I just thought, give Edouard and Ajeti more minutes together, play that back three together, let's get this team really moulding together, because I think this is going to be the team that started Saturday's game is the team for the season rather than started tonight's game. That's how I feel about it.
That's fair, but you have a squad for a reason, you know. I mean, he's got a lot of players there, Lennon. You know, I was with you in the sense that I thought he'd maybe only make one change or so, and I did think that would be Christie as well. But you know, I've no issue with Lennon bringing in the likes of El Hamid. You know, no issue with him bringing in Klamala. He was never. The more you think about it, he was probably never going to start Ajeti. After talking about how he needs to build up his fitness, we have to remember we've got a game on Saturday when he probably will start Edouard and Ajeti up top. So
hopefully,
I've no real problem with the rotation that Lennon's doing. I think it makes sense, and they got the win. And that's all that matters.
Definitely. Right, we've got a couple of minutes to go on the video tonight. Just let us know if there's anything you want us to quickly discuss. I'm going to read out Stevie's comment because he just commented under it saying, please read my comment out. I busted my fingers writing that. So he's saying now, boys, when we play a 3-5-2, Frimpong must start as he brings pace to the team. When you play 3, you always risk losing a goal, but we score 3+ most games, so I'm more than happy, guys. I think that Frimpong is a really important player for us in the 3-5-2, and I think we need another Frimpong, a left back version of him, and I think the boy Doughty at Charlton, who I did a video on earlier in the week, looks like the ideal guy to do that. I feel that you're almost doing what Steve Clarke's doing with Scotland if you try and shoehorn James Forrest or Mohamed El Younousi into that left wing back role, as was the case with Forrest on Saturday. I think you need Frimpong as a right wing back, and you need Alfie Doughty's the guy I'm talking about, or Mitchell Bakker if Celtic fancy buying him on the left hand side. And I think that's the most important part of the team at the moment is getting those wing backs, because I feel like everything else will fall into place. I feel like our back three is looking good at the moment. I feel like our strike force will come good. So loads to be positive about, but that left back stuff is still a worry for me. But I think Frimpong's massive. I'll ask you this one. Kevin's asking, do we need another centre back in?
Not immediately. I'd be all for making a move for Philadelphia's McKenzie if that was a potential move. But you know, we do have 6 options. You know, we have, if you think about it, we have Chris Ayer, Christopher Julian, Shane Duffy, Hatem El Hamid, Neil Beaton, and even Stephen Welsh if Lennon wanted to bring youth. So he does have a lot of options here. I just think there's bigger priorities this summer than another centre back. But if the option's there to go and get a player like McKenzie or even Omar Colley from Sampdoria, you know, I think that's good forward planning, because you know, you don't know if Ayer's maybe going to depart this summer. You don't know, maybe Welsh could do a loan move if you know, he's not going to get many minutes. You know, Beaton's had his injury problems, so you know, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Certainly wouldn't have a go at Celtic if they brought in another centre half this summer. But you know, left back and a right winger is essential for me.
Definitely agreed there. Kieran Murphy, didn't see the game, lads. How did Bruni do? I thought he was better on Saturday. I saw a comment for Cy Ferry that was quite interesting, saying that Scott Brown, he feels that Scott Brown is struggling without supporters, and I think there may actually be something to do with that, given how much Scott Brown loves the whole element, whether it be Celtic fans backing him or opposition fans goading him. He absolutely loves you know, that whole atmosphere, and I think it's only natural that players like Scott Brown, who really thrive in that atmosphere, will be suffering more at the moment.
It's possible. I think we'd like to believe that's the case. I'm not convinced. I do think Brown's slowing up a wee bit. I thought he was poor tonight. I just think he gets turned a wee bit easier than he used to, even in the last season or two. I think he's slower with his reactions. I think it's something Neil Lennon really has to have a look at. Nobody wants to see Brown sort of, you know, end his career with poor performances. You know, he doesn't deserve that. Could be something in the supporters. I'm sure he gets a lift. You know, I mean, he gets such a buzz out that you can tell every time he walks onto the pitch. But as supporters not being there having this big an effect on his performance levels, I think there's more to it than that.
Cool. Right, I think we'll round it off there. Thanks everyone who's commented. A bit blown away by how many people have watched this video so far. Let us know your thoughts and all that thing. We really do appreciate it. Just finally, David, top of the league by Saturday night?
You'd think so. I bloody hope so. I mean, God, can you imagine if we don't win that one on Saturday, home of Livingston?
I think we will. I think you'll see a good team. 3 points, and then over to Hibs and Rangers. We'll sit top of the league and we'll force the pressure on you guys. David, thank you very much for joining us, mate.
Thanks, Hamish, and thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yes, we really do. We'll be back very soon. Well, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Until then, take care and hail, hail.